Alright, so I went to Jimmy's and his camper was moved. I don't even tell me, but his phone's also off. I don't know. We'll figure it out. For now though, I'm gonna stay at my old place. You know, I signed a lease, so well, I didn't sign it, but I was there. Cool. I'm gonna use my key. Let's do it. Boom. Looks clear. Great. Well, I'm gonna show you guys how to make Italian dumplings. That would be raviolis. Cool. Today we are making sausage and spinach ravioli. Everything we're doing today is homemade. Here's everything you need. 5 eggs, a 1/4 pound of sausage, 8 cups of spinach, 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, 1 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, a 1/4 cup of chopped parsley, 2 cups of flour, 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream, a 1/2 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, 1 medium onion or onion powder, 4 cloves of garlic, salt, olive oil, and pepper. So I'm going to combine flour and eggs to make the dough with a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to show you right now. I set this down. Cool. And so all I need to do is get 2 cups. 1, 2. So what I'm doing is making a little mound. Alright, so I'm going to crack an egg. So then we add a tablespoon of olive oil and mix it up with a fork. And then once it's all beaten in with the flour a little bit, I start folding the flour into it. Slowly pull in flour from the outsides of the walls that you have made. Keep incorporating the flour until it becomes a ball. The little chip of Europe is exactly what I needed. It just felt great. Maybe you want to be a pasta chef. I know it's not worth it usually to eat at the very touristy spots, but I will say the place right next to the Coliseum was amazing. Make sure that you buy tickets ahead of time when you go to the Coliseum or the Vatican or anything like that, because the lines to get in are insane. They're so long, there's so many people there. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's so worth it. Waiting outside for like 2 hours is not a good way to spend your trip. It's starting to look good. I'm getting to the point where I start to need to use both hands. I always like to do the dough first because there's always like a 30-minute waiting period for when the dough is actually ready. So I make the dough, and then in that 30 minutes, I make the filling. When I was in Italy, they had a crazy charge on Uber. So you couldn't take that or Lyft or anything like that. So you had to take It Taxi. It's a really nice app you can download. One thing I noticed in Italy though is the taxi drivers are pretty aggressive. We had our driver who was just on Facebook looking at photos while driving, and he just ran over 2 girls on a moped. And then he got out like it was their fault, and we just left after that, and no information was sent or anything. So I don't know. It was a little scary, but you know, I think it's just how they do it. Keep in mind, if you're anywhere outside of like the major cities in Italy, that everything's closed from 1 to 3. So just eat before or after that. It's when they usually take off work and school and have lunch with the kids and the family. There's this thing in Italy called aperitif. That is right before dinner. You can get wine at a restaurant, and it's just unlimited snacks if you keep buying wine. They eat dinner kind of late, so there's a lot of little meals in between. Most of them including wine. Once you have worked the flour long enough, wrap in plastic wrap and let it sit for 30 minutes. While the pasta is resting, it is time to make the filling. The filling consists of 8 cups of spinach, which is cleaned and chopped, 2 cloves of garlic, peeled and minced, 4 large Italian sausages with the casting removed, Heat olive oil in a large pan. Add the onions and sausage. Make sure that the onions become tender and the sausage is lightly browned. Personally, I just use onion powder because I'm not a giant fan of onions, but whatever you like works. Then add the garlic and season with salt and pepper. As the sausage cooks, you can now prepare the spinach. Steam the chopped spinach and then drain well, pressing the spinach to remove all the excess liquid. Place the sausage mixture, spinach, egg, and 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese in a food processor and pulse for a little while. Be careful not to over chop or over process because you want kind of a thick filling. Alright, this is the part where you use a food processor to mix it all up. I don't have one of those, so I just cut it up with a knife and finally cut it up so you can make nice smooth raviolis. Now it is time to roll out the dough. Normally you use a pasta machine. Personally, I don't own one, so I just used a roller. I rolled it as flat as I could, but it's still a little thick. In a bowl, beat 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water to make the egg wash. Brush the surface with the egg wash, it kind of acts like a glue to hold everything together. Drop 1 tablespoon of filling on half the sheet of pasta. Keep them about 2.5 inches apart and then fold them over like a little blanket. With your fingers, gently press the air out around them. Now with a knife, cut them out individually to make little squares. Use a fork to crimp down the edges and make a tight seal. This will give you that ravioli look. Dust the ravioli in the pan with cornmeal to prevent the pasta from sticking. Now it is time to cook the sauce. In a large pot, add 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then add your chopped garlic. Cook the garlic until it is browned. Add your can of tomatoes, your half teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, and some salt and pepper. Let this simmer for about 10 minutes. After this is cooked for about 10 minutes, add a half cup of heavy whipping cream and a 1/4 cup of fresh chopped parsley. Once you have it mixed, cook it for another 10 minutes. You can then put it on low heat while you cook your pasta. I thought Barcelona was cool. It was really pretty, but it was very, very, very touristy. And I learned later that most places there are Airbnb more than residents. Which is, I mean, if you're looking to party, there's like a ton of people there on vacation looking to have a good time. I get that, but it's not necessarily something I like to do. The opposite of that was Lisbon. Honestly, it was very homey, but it also felt like there's a lot of young people and stuff to do. So I really liked it. One thing I really did like about Barcelona though is that it had Wi-Fi like everywhere, like outside, which was really cool. And it was really fast Wi-Fi compared to like every other country I went to. Italy's internet was so awful, and Portugal was like the worst. I remember I just tried to send a photo to somebody and like upload speed, it took 20 minutes. Also in Barcelona, I really liked the food, like the tapas in the midday kind of thing was so nice, and it was really cheap. And obviously I love paella. Paella is awesome, and if you want paella, you go to Barcelona. Boil some salted water in a medium to large pot. Place your ravioli into the pot, making sure they don't stick together. Cook the ravioli until they begin to float. I was really surprised in Barcelona how much graffiti there was. There was just like unibrows drawn on like a bunch of the statues and art pieces and stuff, which I thought was like kind of sad, because you know, when you think of Europe, you think of like nice old clean buildings and stuff. I just didn't know that it would be just so like crazy dirty and crazy covered in graffiti. You know, Rome was pretty bad too. There was a lot of graffiti everywhere there as well. But it didn't seem as like destructive of art as it did in Barcelona. But you know, Barcelona's going through their own thing right now, so it kind of makes sense, I guess. Drain the ravioli and then return them back into the pot. Pour half of the sauce into the pot and stir carefully until lightly coated. Serve the ravioli with a spoonful of additional sauce and sprinkle on some grated cheese. We have a nice ravioli. Great. Yeah, I had a really good time in Europe though. It was, you know, I found myself. I found things to do. Oh man. It cuts so nice. Yeah.
Ravioli! Oh yeah, the sauce is so good. Please. Get out.
Okay. Now.
Boss man.
It is time, Jim. Okie dokie. Ravioli.